Right.
Now, let's talk about voter ID. It's incredible to me that this is such a ongoing issue in the US. You would just think it would be obvious for everyone to have ID if they're going to participate in the electoral process. You need ID to pretty much do anything these days. The Republicans have issued new legislation to help combat voter fraud in the lead up to the presidential election.
And so what we're going to do is introduce legislation to require that every single person who registers to vote in a federal election must prove that they're an American citizen first. They have to prove it. That will be a new part of the federal law and a very important one. Our bill will establish new safeguards. It'll put us on par, by the way, with virtually every other democracy around the world that also prohibits non-citizen voting.
Adam, as usual, the response to this has been somewhat demented from some in the media, some of the pundits. All they see here is racism and voter suppression, that, you know, non-citizen voting isn't an issue. I mean, if it isn't an issue, then what's the problem with having voter ID? And they're also claiming that anybody who thinks this is an issue is a conspiracy theorist. Is that how you see it?
No, not at all. And calling us conspiracy theorists is the gaslighting, because in New York City, they just lost an appeal to allow non-citizens to vote. Mayor Eric Adams and the city council pushed for non-citizens to vote within New York City. Now, to be specific, they wanted permanent residents, right? So they're here legally. However, voting is for citizens, right? That is our right. That's one of the things that makes it special about being a US citizen. You have the right to have your voice heard when it comes to picking your representative. And what they tried to do was bogart our system, violate the Constitution, which the appellate court said this is unconstitutional. They tried to violate it so they can get 800,000 more people as voters within New York City. And if that was to go through, then you would have seen ripples throughout other major cities to push for the same thing. So thankfully, in this circumstance, the court clearly saw that this is unconstitutional. If you're not a citizen of the country, you should not be able to vote. But when people say, oh, this is not a non-issue whatsoever, no one's actually trying to vote. First off, this is the most common sense thing in the world. If you are a citizen, then you should be able to vote. If you're a non-citizen, you should not be able to vote. And being able to prove it is the most common sense thing all around the world, especially in Western democracies.